Morning, everybody. Diana Redman here, and you have been listening to Key to My Heart for a while now. All last week, I've been doing that on my YouTube channel and posting it here in the Diana Redman page. I am going live this week. And I can't promise what time it's going to be, so if you catch me, that's great, but you can always watch it afterwards. There's always going to be a replay, so that's not a problem. So we're now on excerpt 6 of Key to My Heart. He closed his hand over hers and smiled. How have you been? Fine. I married 2 years ago. Family? He raised his eyes, smiling. She shook her head and took a drink of water. No, not yet. Oh, so it is on the cards then. One day, I suppose. Gary's got a good job and so have I. We want to get a few more things around us before we have to give up one income. Don't suppose you have to do that. Seeing her querying look, he went on, give up your income, I mean. Perhaps, but I prefer to stay at home anyway. Probably best. He fell silent, toying with the unused cutlery on the table. And you? She ventured. Anyone special in your life? No, he snorted, too busy with travelling. Melanie said you travelled to the States. Mainly New York. Been over to California a few times, but usually the East Coast. Sounds exciting. She cocked her head to one side when he didn't respond. Isn't it? It fills a void. Now it was her turn to reach over and touch his hand. Has there been no one since? Shaking his head, he pulled his hand away. No. Till Melanie. He didn't reply. I've seen the way you look at her. He smiled sadly. I never could hide stuff from you, could I? You know her. What's she like? Well, not usually like this, she confessed. She seems very uppity as far as you're concerned. I think you've rubbed her up the wrong way. She's a very caring, compassionate woman normally. I was right then. What do you mean? Well, that's the impression I got of her, that deep down she's someone I could connect with. She's getting over her divorce. I think she still needs some time to assimilate herself. Back off. Give her some space. If you think so, I do. Not what he'd wanted to hear. He'd wanted Carol to say her friend had the hots for him too, that he should pursue it and ask her out, not give her time and space. He'd had enough of time and the killing of same. He wanted someone he could share his life with at the level of emotional depth he felt. She's not as shallow as you think, you know, Carol said eventually. No, I didn't think she was. I'm just tired of waiting. I know, but it will happen one day. When? Laughing, he got up from the table, pulling Carol's chair away as she stood. That's what I want to know. I need to go freshen up. I'll see you, she checked her watch, in 15 minutes? Yeah, fine. Making his way through the restaurant and into the conservatory, he headed for the outside doors and a much-needed breath of fresh air. Perhaps he would help clear his head. He hadn't felt this instantly attracted to anyone for a long time. In fact, he couldn't remember the last time he'd so wanted to spend time with someone. He couldn't even put his finger on what attracted him to her. Naturally, her figure and her look. She was slim and just over 5 foot with long, dark, curly hair pulled up into a loose chignon. He shook his head. No, it was more than that. It was when he looked into her eyes. Don't some people say they're the mirror of the soul? Well, hers seemed to be, and whatever persona she was projecting was not the woman on the inside. And Carol, her long-time friend, had just confirmed the very same thing. She'd said she wasn't as shallow as she made out. Trouble was, if she was the sort of person for whom first impressions counted, then he was out of the race, it seemed. It was obvious to all and sundry that he was a womanizer, and he couldn't lie. He loved women. He found them so much easier to relate to than men. But still, that didn't mean he'd jump into bed with every passing stranger in a skirt. And for all the obviousness of his actions, wasn't there anyone who could see through that facade, that he too was a warm, caring and compassionate man? Perhaps he could change, but then how would he get through the days? The loneliness he felt, the not being part of anyone or anything, or feeling that if you died not a soul would weep at your grave. Oh, Jesus Christ, he told himself, pull yourself together. Checking his watch, he decided to stay out in the sunshine until the last moment. Carol had told him to give Melanie some space, and much as he wanted to fulfil his promise that he could set up the equipment, she seemed to have gone off in a huff. Perhaps it was best to leave her be. When he eventually made his way through the double doors of the conference room, he bumped into her coming the other way and found himself sandwiched in the middle of her and the next speaker. "Claude, how are you?" Simon proffered a hand, but the big burly man pulled him into a bear hug. "Fine, Simon, and yourself?" "Good, good. How did the New York deal go?" "Not bad." Claude Roseby smiled a little conspiratorially, putting his finger to the one side of his nose. "Not bad at all." "Melanie," he extended his arms to embrace her and placed a kiss on her cheek. "How are you?" "Fine, Sir Claude. Not such a good journey then?" she asked. "Delay on the line from Birmingham. Apart from that, though, not bad." "I'll leave you two to get on then," Simon suggested. "Find myself a seat. Nice to see you again." "You too, you old dog." He cringed. Melanie would definitely wonder what Roseby meant by his last remark. His reputation went before him, it seemed. Not that he'd done anything wrong. He and Claude had met up in New York a few months beforehand and agreed to have dinner one evening if they were both free. It happened that the final night before they both flew back home, their respective business partners had cried off. He'd called him and suggested they meet up. Claude was brash and loud-mouthed, smoking his cigar and barking at the waitresses for service. Frankly, he'd been embarrassed sitting with him, and one young girl obviously had no idea how to handle her pompous, overbearing customer. She'd gone bright red each time he'd called her over to the table, and eventually Simon had felt so sorry for her that he'd offered to pay for a cab, and if she wanted, he'd escort her home. It was an act of pure chivalry, but of course Claude had taken the whole thing a stage further. He'd made lewd comments for the rest of the evening and, like a dog with a bone, had not let the subject go. Of course, Melanie would think the worst of him. He couldn't win. Whatever he seemed to do, he seemed doomed to live up to his false persona. So that's where we leave it today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying it. Unfortunately, there's no one been on live with me, but you can catch the replay and just put in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Anything you tell me helps me make me a better writer. So I love your feedback. I love you interacting with me. And I'm hoping that by going live, you'll get to know a little bit more about me, see me as a real live person. And so I'll speak to you tomorrow. I'm not sure when it will be live. It will either be mid-morning or mid-afternoon. So if you're around on Facebook then, I won't be able to sort of say hello to you as I'm reading, because obviously I need to concentrate on that. But at the start and the end of the video, there'll be an opportunity for you to say hello. And it'd be great to see you. So it will either probably be around about this time tomorrow, about 11 o'clock, or it will be more likely about 2:30ish. So either 11 a.m. in the morning or 2:30, I will be going live here with the next part of Key to My Heart. I apologise, my accents aren't as good when I'm doing live, because obviously when I do recordings then I practice them and I get a chance to keep going back over them again and doing them a little bit better. So what you get in a live is me roaring the flesh, so to speak. So as I say, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, just give me a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down, whatever. Give me a comment, let me know, even a like, just so that I know you've been here and you're interacting with me. And I look forward to seeing you either tomorrow mid-morning or mid-afternoon. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Bye.